Somewhere in your medicine cabinet right now, there is a small white tablet that millions of seniors take every single morning without question. Maybe you take it yourself. Maybe your doctor suggested it years ago, and you have never thought to ask why. But here is what almost nobody is telling you. For a growing number of adults over 60, that tablet is doing far less than you think. And the one thing that could genuinely protect your brain is sitting quietly in the foods you stopped eating 30 years ago. I'm Dr. Alan Miller, and after 18 years treating cardiovascular risk in older adults, I've seen firsthand what happens when these warning signs go ignored. Today I want to talk to you about stroke, not in the abstract clinical way you may have heard before, but in a real practical way that will change how you think about prevention. Because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why aspirin has serious limitations as a stroke shield for seniors, what the research now shows about one overlooked mineral, and the specific steps you can take, starting today, to give your brain the protection it actually deserves. Stay with me, because what I am about to share around the 5-minute mark is something most people never hear until it is already too late. Here is the truth that rarely gets explained clearly enough. For decades, the recommendation to take a daily low-dose aspirin for heart and stroke prevention was almost universal. Doctors handed it out, pharmacists confirmed it, and patients trusted it without a second thought. But the science has quietly shifted. Major studies, including research published in the New England Journal of Medicine, have shown that for older adults who have not already had a stroke or heart attack, daily aspirin offers little meaningful protection and carries real risks, including internal bleeding. And yet, millions of seniors are still reaching for that tablet every morning, believing they are covered. They are not. At least, not fully. The system simply has not caught up. The average appointment with a primary care physician lasts about 15 minutes. By the time a doctor reviews your medications, checks your blood pressure, and answers your most pressing questions, there is almost no time left to discuss what the latest research actually says about prevention. So you walk out with the same prescription you had 5 years ago, and nobody mentions magnesium. That is the word I want you to hold in your mind for the next few minutes. Magnesium. It is one of the most abundant minerals in the human body, essential for over 300 biochemical reactions, and it is also one of the most quietly deficient nutrients in adults over 60. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that up to 68% of Americans do not get enough magnesium from their diet. And among seniors specifically, the numbers are worse, because aging kidneys excrete more magnesium, and many common medications, including diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, and yes, even some blood pressure drugs, deplete it further. You could be losing this mineral silently every single day and have absolutely no idea. So why does that matter for stroke? Let me explain the mechanism. Because once you understand how magnesium works inside your arteries, you will never think about this mineral the same way again. Your arteries are not simple tubes. They are living, muscular structures with 3 distinct layers, and their ability to relax and contract is directly tied to the minerals flowing through your bloodstream. Magnesium acts as what scientists call a natural calcium channel blocker. In plain terms, it prevents too much calcium from flooding into the smooth muscle cells that line your artery walls. When those cells get overloaded with calcium, they tighten, the artery stiffens, blood pressure climbs, and the risk of a blood clot, the kind that causes a stroke, rises with every passing hour. This is called vasospasm, and it is far more common in older adults than most people realize. Now here is where the 40% figure comes from, because I want to be precise with you. A landmark meta-analysis reviewing data from over 200,000 adults found that the highest magnesium intake was associated with a 38 to 40% lower risk of ischemic stroke, the most common type, caused by a blood clot blocking blood flow to the brain. That is not a small number. That is not statistical noise. That is a finding significant enough that researchers have called for magnesium to be front and center in stroke prevention conversations. And yet, here we are. Let me tell you about Howard. He was 71 years old, a retired electrician from Ohio, and when he first came to see me, he had three things going on: mild high blood pressure, chronic constipation that nobody had taken seriously, and muscle cramps in his calves every single night. He had been on a low-dose aspirin for 6 years. When I looked at his full picture, his diet, his medications, his symptoms, every single sign pointed to significant magnesium depletion. We ran a red blood cell magnesium test, which is more accurate than the standard serum magnesium test, and his levels were well below optimal. Over the following 4 months, we addressed his magnesium intake through food and a targeted supplement, worked with his cardiologist to reassess the aspirin, and those nightly cramps disappeared entirely. His blood pressure readings became noticeably more stable. Howard called them his best 4 months in a decade. His story is not unique. I have seen it dozens of times. And this brings me to the symptoms most people dismiss as just getting older. Because low magnesium does not announce itself with a banner. It whispers. It shows up as the muscle cramps that wake you at 2 in the morning, the constipation that seems to have no cause, the headaches that come and go for no reason, the anxious, restless feeling that keeps you from falling asleep, the heart palpitations that your doctor said were benign, the fatigue that a full night of sleep never seems to fix. None of these feel like stroke risk, but under the surface, every single one of them can reflect the slow, silent drain of a mineral your blood vessels desperately need. Stay with me because I want to talk about 2 more things before we get to the protocol. And the first one may surprise you. Not all magnesium is the same. This matters enormously if you are considering supplementation. Magnesium oxide, which is the cheapest form and the one most commonly found in drugstore multivitamins, has very poor absorption. Studies suggest only around 4% is actually absorbed by the body. That means you could be spending money on a supplement every month and getting almost none of the benefit. The forms with the strongest research behind them for cardiovascular and neurological support are magnesium glycinate, which is gentle on the stomach and highly bioavailable, and magnesium malate, which is particularly well studied for energy and muscle function. If you are already taking a magnesium supplement and still experiencing symptoms, the form may be the problem, not the mineral itself. Let me tell you about Barbara, 68 years old, a retired school teacher. She had been taking magnesium oxide for 2 years on the advice of a friend and felt no improvement in her sleep or her muscle cramps. When we switched her to magnesium glycinate at a therapeutic dose, the difference showed up within 3 weeks. Her sleep deepened, her morning stiffness eased, and a follow-up with her cardiologist showed a meaningful improvement in her resting blood pressure. Same mineral, different form, entirely different result. And before I give you the protocol, I want to address one thing clearly. I am not telling you to stop taking aspirin. If your doctor has prescribed it because you have already had a cardiac event or a previous stroke, that is a decision made for very specific clinical reasons, and you should never change it without speaking with your physician first. What I am saying is that if you are taking aspirin purely as a blanket preventive measure, and you have never had a serious cardiovascular event, that is a conversation worth having with your doctor, armed with the latest research, and with magnesium on the table as part of the discussion. Now, here is what you can do. 5 steps starting today. Step 1. Get the right test. If you want to know your magnesium status, ask your doctor for a red blood cell magnesium test, not just a standard serum magnesium. The standard test measures what is floating in your blood, not what is inside your cells, where magnesium actually does its work. Many people show normal serum levels while being genuinely deficient at the cellular level. Step 2. Start with food. The richest dietary sources of magnesium include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, which are remarkable, with nearly a quarter of your daily magnesium in a single small handful, black beans, almonds, avocado, and dark chocolate with 70% or higher cocoa content. These are not exotic foods. They are foods you can find in any grocery store today. Step 3. If you choose to supplement, choose wisely. Magnesium glycinate is the most widely recommended form for seniors, typically in doses between 200 and 400 milligrams per day, taken in the evening, which also supports sleep. Always discuss dosing with your doctor, particularly if you have kidney disease, as the kidneys regulate magnesium excretion, and supplementation requires caution in those cases. Step 4. Audit your medications. Ask your pharmacist to review whether any of your current medications are known to deplete magnesium. Diuretics, acid reflux medications, and certain antibiotics are among the most common culprits. This single conversation could change everything. Step 5. Do not wait for symptoms to worsen. Magnesium depletion is cumulative and slow. The time to address it is before a crisis, not after one. Here is what I want you to take away from this. Your brain's protection should not rest on a single strategy that the research is increasingly questioning. The body is more complex than that, and the solutions are often simpler than we expect. Not a new drug, not an expensive procedure. Sometimes just the mineral you stopped getting enough of when your diet changed and your kidneys got a little older. Howard and Barbara are not exceptional cases. They are the rule. And if their stories sound familiar, please take them seriously. As always, everything I share is for educational purposes, and none of it replaces the guidance of your own physician, who knows your full medical history. But I encourage you to bring this information to your next appointment. Print it out if you need to. You are your own best advocate. If this video opened your eyes to something you had not considered before, I would love for you to share it with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who is still reaching for that aspirin every morning without question. It costs you nothing to share. It could matter more than you know.